Good morning. Sister Cynthia and Sister Rosemary believed in me before I believed in myself. I never really had that, someone who actually believed in me. My family loved me, but due to poverty and life circumstances, they were unable to take care of me. At age 13, I was placed in the foster care system where I was exposed to more harm, and I ran away. Staying in school was pretty difficult after that. I was homeless, and I started using drugs and alcohol to numb the pain of neglect and trauma. The truth is that school was always difficult for me. Every time I was in a classroom, I felt bored and agitated. I could never quite organize my thoughts well enough to write them down, and doing math was an absolute nightmare. By the time I was 15, I had dropped out completely and started working in bars and nightclubs. I never totally gave up on getting an education. Over the years, I tried multiple GED programs, but I never passed. It never made sense to me. You're taking the GED because for one reason or another, you failed in a traditional classroom setting, yet many programs are designed to replicate that exact experience. It just didn't work for me. In my early 20s, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol and facing a possible jail sentence. I joined various self-help groups and got serious about changing my life. It worked. The simple act of not drinking started to improve my life circumstances. However, at about 90 days sober, all of the trauma of my early childhood started to resurface, and I was fearful that I would not be able to maintain my sobriety. I checked myself into a treatment program in Oakland named Chrysalis. It was there that I met Miss Evelyn and Sister Lorraine. They became my counselors. Their combination of kindness, discipline, and respect that these women gave me helped save my life, and I am eternally grateful. I learned that nuns have a funny way of intervening when you're about to do something that isn't good for you. Rather than reacting and telling you what you're doing is wrong, they just keep you busy doing the right things. After 6 months of being sober, I told Sister Lorraine that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, and I thought that I might go back to bartending. Instead of telling me that I was wrong, she made an appointment for me at Next Step Learning Center. I was terrified. I knew that if they put me back in a classroom setting, I would fail, but I did not. They worked with me one-on-one. They turned every small victory, every improvement on a practice exam, every math problem that I got right, into an opportunity to convince me that I was smart. After 4 months, I passed every section on the GED except for the math, and I told them to forget about it, that no one could ever teach me how to do math well enough to pass an exam. But the sisters aren't very good at taking no for an answer. They put me to work, and honestly, I think I put them to work as well. Sister Rosemary tutored me twice a week. There were times when I cried, and there were times when she left the room, but she always came back. She noticed that I was getting the more complicated problems right, but I couldn't do the basics. I kept mixing up the numbers, which led them to suggest that I might have a learning disability. Finally, I had a name for my struggles. Through a series of tests, it was proven that I had dyslexia and attention deficit disorder. It wasn't that I couldn't learn, my brain just organized things in a different way. I got the help that I needed, and when the day came to take the test, Sister Cynthia, Sister Rosemary, and Sister Lorraine prayed for me. And much to my surprise, I passed the math portion of the exam, and years of shame and guilt began to lift. As a young African-American woman whose grandmother cleaned houses for a living and whose mother never finished high school, it never occurred to me that my life could be different. When you view your life with limitations like this, it's hard to imagine possibilities. Most often than not, we just do what we know. This is why it's so important to have someone on your side, someone who believes in you, and someone who truly has your best interests at heart, and someone who can help you craft an alternative explanation for your past challenges and a different vision for your future. The sisters helped me realize that I had choices, and they stood beside me and encouraged me to take the next step. When I got accepted into college, I stopped feeling like an imposter. Looking at that acceptance letter, seeing the validation right there in black and white, I could no longer deny that I was an intelligent woman. I became intrigued with the social sciences and became driven by a deep desire to help others coming from similar circumstances. I got my undergraduate degree from the University of Holy Names, and oddly enough, I had no idea that that's where the sisters came from. When I graduated with my master's in counseling psychology last May, it was on the 140th anniversary of the Sisters of the Holy Names, and it was 14 years after Next Step had been started by Sister Cynthia. Sister Cynthia was also a speaker at the commencement ceremony. It was truly a full circle moment. Currently, I work at the Youth Emergency Assistance Hostel in Berkeley. It's a shelter for young people, and in 1 year's time, I hope to be a licensed therapist. I send many of our young people to Next Step Learning Center. I try to show them that I believe in them more often before they're ready to believe in themselves. Next Step Learning Center did this for me, and it has made all the difference. Thank you.